Sandringham Central Dental Care. Dr. Akbar and Dr. Frank will provide you with the best dental care in Auckland at very affordable prices. Sandringham Central Dental Care, 532 Sandringham Road, Sandringham. Phone 09 815 7205.
No matter how you relate to your car, it is important to care for it in specific ways that will maintain its reliability, preserve its drivability, and protect its retail value. Moon Motors and Tyre Centre, 81 Huia Street, Otahu, Auckland. Phone 09 270 3434.
Chauncey Robinson is a leader of the Young Socialists from San Francisco and accompanied Roger Calero, the Socialist Workers' Party candidate for US President, on his recent visit to Australia and New Zealand. She spoke at the Black Rights Conference of May 24, expressing her appreciation at being able to learn more about the struggles of Aboriginal people, noting that their fight was part of the same worldwide struggle of working people against the attacks by the bosses and their governments. The two-day conference was called to organise opposition to the federal government takeover of Aboriginal communities in the Northern Territory. Calero and Robinson were invited by Claire Corbould, a lecturer in US and African American history, to address a class of about 150 students at Sydney University. Here in New Zealand, at a public meeting organised by the New Zealand Institute for International Affairs at the University of Auckland, she observed that the campaign to win the release of the Cuban Five is international. The 5 working-class fighters are serving sentences ranging from 15 years to a double life term in US prisons.
Hello, Chauncey. How are you? Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Chauncey, could you elaborate of your involvement with the Socialist Party from the youth perspective? I mean, what exactly do you do in the party?
Okay, well, I'm a member of the Young Socialists and the Socialist Workers' Party, and I'm also a participant in the Young Socialists for Calero and Kennedy, which is, as Roher was explaining, are young people, youth who very much believe in what the Socialist Workers' Party, the campaign that they put forth, and the road for workers and youth and toilers around the globe. It's people who believe that we need to be young people who believe that we do need to be independent from the Democrats and the Republicans. Like with Barack Obama, like right now in the U.S., they say he has all the young people behind him in the youth movement, but that's not necessarily true. There are a lot of young people who are kind of disillusioned with politics in general, with the way they perceive it on television, with the Democrats and Republicans, and either they don't want to get involved in politics, or they're just kind of wondering what's the right thing to get behind. And one of the things that the Socialist Workers campaign puts forth is, putting forth the idea that a different world is possible, but that it's only possible through the leadership of the working class, and that it can only happen with us taking a different stance away from the Democrats and Republicans. So that's something that it's very much important to have, and it's a way. The Young Socialists for Calero and Kennedy is a way of getting that out there, getting the young people involved in the campuses, young people on the jobs. I happen to be a garment worker in the U.S. Roher was talking about how he used to be a meat packer, and I work in a garment packing place. I came around the Young Socialists around the World Youth Festival in Venezuela, and got involved in politics. And I think it's very important to get other young people involved.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking on a general scale, what is the scale of involvement of the youth in U.S. politics? How aware are they of the goings on as far as politics are concerned?
Well, I think one thing is that politics starts where the millions are, where thousands of people are. That's where the real politics are at for the young people and workers in general. Like with the May Day demonstrations in the U.S. that just recently happened on May 1st with the immigrant rights struggle. A demand for legalization now for all workers, all undocumented workers. What happened this year, I got a chance to participate in it in San Francisco, was that you noticed there was just a more significant amount of young people there who missed, who go to high school or college, and they totally missed school that day to come out and support, the demand for legalization now. Many of them are sons and daughters of undocumented workers, and they're out there demanding, legalization now for their parents, for the people that they know. And there was also a significant amount of young black students out there as well during the May Day demonstrations that I got a chance to hear about and be a part of. So that's one aspect that people are getting involved in because it affects so many people. Another aspect was the Sean Bell case in New York. I don't know if with Sean Bell, who was a young African American male who was shot down by the cops, basically shot down, and recently the cops were let off for this crime. And leading up to it, there were protests and things like that. And also after the cops got off, you had young people out there, African American, others, out there, protesting this, who, weren't a part of course, too young to be a part of like the civil rights movement, things like that, but also saw that there was an injustice going on there. And also with the Jenna 6 case, where 6 young black males were, placed in jail for basically beating up this a young white student. And instead of being suspended from school, they were thrown in jail on attempted murder charges. And what ended up happening is that all across the country, you had young people coming out, and others, who were supporters of this, saying that it was an injustice, that it was, like not equal at all for these, young people to be thrown in jail, especially in the South, which was a new thing, something that, kind of was a remembrance of the civil rights movement, where many thousands of people came down to Jenna, Louisiana, where this occurred and protested, and there was a significant amount of young black African Americans there too. So,
no, you must be definitely aware that in order to have a major change on a national scale, if you're eyeing the presidency over there, if your party is hell-bent or intending to make its presence felt on the Capitol Hill, that requires a lot of involvement, especially from the media point of view and from the participants, especially the youth.
Mm-hmm.
And could you outline the numbers in terms of the youth's resurgence towards politics?
Well, I couldn't give you an exact amount. It's a different it's a different world right now than like in the 60s, where you had the anti-Vietnam War movement, you had the civil rights movement, you had women's liberation that was going on during that time. It's a different kind of situation, so it's harder for young people to get political at times, because there's not huge struggles going on that, in the U.S. in particular, there's not a good amount of huge struggles going on that people can necessarily rally behind. Like you have, like what I said, this Sean Bell case, Jenna 6, and legalization now. But even with those, it's harder. I can't give you an exact amount, but there are young people who are definitely getting involved. I know, like the Young Socialists and others on campuses, and young workers who fight alongside other workers for decent pay, safety on the job, things like that. So
just a while back you spoke about youth being disillusioned with the present state of politics in the United States. You, as a part of the youth itself, how optimistic are you? Do you see any silver lining when it comes to the economic benefits accruing out of the policies imposed or taken by the Senate or at the Capitol Hill?
Well, I have optimism that things can change with, the right leadership, with the right people in power, that being, the working class. I don't have any optimism in the Democrats or the Republicans or anyone in the current government at the moment. In terms, we're entering, many people are losing their jobs, unemployment is growing, things like that. It's very much not a very a good society at the moment, but I am optimistic that it can change with the right leadership.
Mm-hmm. Now, what sort of challenges do you see for the Socialist Workers Campaign to succeed?
Well, I think it's it's about getting out there. What we were able to do and coming to New Zealand, showing that the politics start with the world. That it's not just in the U.S., but that it's for workers, youth, and toilers around the globe, and getting more people involved in the kind of in the politics that we put forth in this road of workers and farmers taking power of of a different world being possible. And that comes through just basically getting out there, joining in the struggles. That's one of the things that that's so great about the campaign, is that it says tell us about your struggles and we'll join in with them. So we've had a chance to make those kind of connections with people who are fighting on their job against racism and discrimination. People are fighting for safety on the job and things like that. And it's through making those kind of connections and tours like this that we've been able to do that. But there is the obstacle of people say they get the sense that there's only the Democrats and the Republicans, and showing people that they don't just have to vote for the lesser evil. So it's giving people an alternative, a better alternative.
Now finally, Chauncey, how did you find New Zealand?
I enjoyed it. Politically, it's just been a great learning experience, especially with the Maori fight that's going on here, and just learning of the struggle that hasn't just started in the last few years, but it's been going on for years. We got to visit a couple of sites here and talk to the Maori activists who are very much involved in their defense campaign against these crazy anti-terror laws and things like that, and the raids. So that's been a great learning experience, and also just coming to the campuses and talking to young people, and making that connection, giving people a chance, kind of exchanging ideas, and having a chance to talk to people about politics in the U.S. and learning about the politics here in New Zealand. Like, I hadn't known about the Maori struggle before I got here, and we're going off over to Australia soon, and about the Aborigine struggle there, and just what people go through here on the job as well, which is very similar to workers in the U.S.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chauncey, for
Thank
your
you.
time.